When people are at this home, what I would love to know that they feel is that this is a piece of craft, a piece of thought, a piece of carefully considered architecture that leaves them with a sense of joy, a sense of wonder, a sense of possibility and excitement. I'm Sam Caradis, a principal at Crosson Architects, a project architect and one of the lead designers on the YT House. We're on the west coast of New Zealand in Taranaki, which is incredibly interesting in that there's the intensity of the small township and this awareness of the proximity of it to the ocean. But when you're heading towards this house in particular, you find yourself rolling through the hills and green landscape. So before you've even turned into the driveway, there's this sense of going somewhere different in this area.
My name's Tandy, and we project managed and delivered the interiors on the YT House. So we're really lucky to be here in Taranaki, where we have multiple different backdrops. So we've got Taranaki Maunga, we have the rolling hills in front of it, and in between there is the Waido River, which you can hear when you arrive at the property.
In order to capture these aspects, intentional and dynamic way, if you look at the planning of this house and its geometry, you find that the form is actually rhomboid-like. So rather than a cube or a rectangle, we've got two parallel sides but at an angle to each other. And what that does is it means that when you're in the kitchen, dining, living space, you almost connect through a 180-degree angle. You've got a sense of the mountains behind you and a very clear view of the west coast. And as you explore that rhomboid form further, if you're looking at the house from above, there's a form which is a callback to the client's Brazilian heritage and is an echo of the Brazilian flag.
I think in terms of inspiration, we were really led by our clients, and our goal was really to think about how do we best create something that celebrates who they are as people, their journey to Aotearoa New Zealand, and also ensure that when they walk through the door and they take their shoes off and settle into family life, that they really feel like they are at home away from home. We really thought about how do we create warmth, softness, how do we create an interior that doesn't compete with the outside, but also reflects light. So it was really important for us to pick a flooring choice that allowed us to build upon the story and be the foundation of everything. So we selected the Copenhagen flooring by Forte for the size or the width of the board, and not only that, it has such a beautiful tone, like a buttery warmth without being too grey or too yellow. It acted as a backdrop and just kind of celebrated all of the pops of colours that we added on top.
In the right collaborative partnership, you can achieve extraordinary results. Now, Forte is the perfect example of that. They're open to going through an iterative design process, and We need that in order to complete the vision that we have for any project.
We also have quite a lot of volume in the open plan spaces, so we needed to ensure that the timber cladding on the wall, that tone of that timber really kind of lifted the flooring and vice versa. From there, we started to think about what our stone features needed to feel and look like. So some are filled, some are non-filled travertine. For example, we selected a marble which had more of a gloss finish in the kitchen. And so that was just to play on the surfaces to help inform light when it comes into the space at different times of day, and make sure that the furniture pieces that we put in right at the end brought that colour on top of a palette that was really cohesive.
None of these spaces reveal themselves immediately. There's sort of teasers depending on where you are within the house of what might be around the corner, but rather than being mono in its delivery, as in one move reveals everything, this is a house that needs to be explored, that requires you to open doors, because in every door there's a unique and special moment. Topping this off is this internal courtyard that you can step into, a landscaped area within the house. And the intention of this is that it's a special space that the family can stand on and bask in the beauty that is this place, or they can go up to at night and gaze straight up in the air and stare at the stars.